What did you think of Biden's trip this week?
For me, I just couldn't stop crying when I woke up to the news that President Biden was walking around Kyiv. I thought it was brave, and I thought it was beautiful, and I thought it was important.
Literally crying?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so indicative of how our politics are that the trip got mixed reviews. As polarizing as President Bush's presidency was, from go, I don't remember people criticizing his choices to travel and boost the troops. But to see and to learn that this trip to Kyiv was political in the eyes of some.
That really struck me as well. I mean, not only were Republicans not neutral, they went on the attack while our commander-in-chief was in a war zone.
Yeah, I think upwards of 80–90% of Americans support Ukraine's efforts to defeat Russia and get them out. And so Republicans put themselves on the other side, not just of Joe Biden, but the other side of the American people. Importantly, President Biden does have bipartisan support for all of the aid. I mean, Mitch McConnell came out this week and backed Biden. It just isn't unanimous. The Republican Party has a very vocal pro-Putin faction.
We both had the opportunity to work in Bush world. You worked for Jeb and George W. I worked for George W. Neither one of us worked for H.W., but I think we both knew him. It's an interesting contrast to just think that H.W. fought a successful war and lost re-election. George W. won a re-election and lost a war.
I think what both Presidents Bush would say is that in both instances, they did what they thought was right for the country. And I don't know that you can go about decisions like those in any other manner. And I think that that might be the only transferable parallel. You can't make these decisions with politics in mind, because I think it's too transparently cynical if you do that. I think that the voters would see through that.
Question for Biden now is, it's just got to do the right thing, but we know how long these conflicts can go, and 6 months, a year from now, there could be a lot more blood, there could be a lot more money, and not a lot of progress. So then what happens to Joe Biden?
Well, I think Joe Biden can rest assured that the midterm elections show that the country understands threats to democracy. The voters told the country, they told Republicans too, that they understand that our democracy is threatened. Some of that is through January 6th, some of that is through understanding the brazenness of what Putin's doing in Ukraine. What I think is unknown at this point is whether they will stitch them together in a global sense. But I think that is the storytelling mission of people who want to make sure that the voters are with them as they try to protect democracy at home and abroad.
The question is, can Biden stitch that narrative together?
I don't know. I think, though, you have to treat voters like they're smart. I think voters are smart. You have a pretty receptive audience in this country. Whether he can stitch them together is the $64 million political question. I don't think anybody knows the answer to it yet.